unsurprising. This is the biggest fight in Japanese history between two, elite Japanese fighters. And I understand styles make fights. I get it. But in this case, I guess what I'm reacting to is Inoue is what I consider one of these super fighters. His speed, his reflexes, his power. Mike, what's the word I always like to use? The
twitchies.
Twitchies are different, right? They're elite. And Junto is like as good as it gets for a normally excellent fighter.
And I also think, I just won't be surprised. And as you all know, I already have. I'm going with Junto as a favorite in this, as far as my personal. So it won't be a big upset to me. I can't see someone with his type of technically sound game, with his system, with his work rate. I just don't see guys like that ever as an underdog in any type of fight they're in.
Max Kellerman provides an interesting breakdown of the highly anticipated fight between Naoya Inoue and Junto Nakatani, examining their contrasting styles, strengths, and tactics.
Of two top 10 pound-for-pound fighters. The number 2 pound-for-pound fighter in all the world, the monster, Naoya Inoue, takes on number 6 Junto Nakatani at the Tokyo Dome.
Points out that the Inoue versus Nakatani fight is not getting much attention in the US. This is mainly because it involves lower weight classes that attract less American interest and takes place in Japan, far from US audience.
Ordinarily, when you have a clash of top 10 pound-for-pounders, there's a lot of buildup. But this one feels as though, at least from where we're sitting in LA, that it's flown a bit under the radar. Now, in the first place, it's two tiny division fighters, right? Once you get below lightweight, especially featherweight, the American public has a tendency anyway to think, well, they're kind of tiny guys and be a little less interested. They're both Japanese fighters, and so the fight's taking place halfway around the world from here, and they haven't been marketed in this country the way they've been marketed in Japan for obvious reasons. And also, Inoue is about a 3-to-1 favorite, so it's not considered a 50-50.
Notes Naoya Inoue as a strong favorite, priced around 3-to-1 odds, but warns against underestimating Junto Nakatani. He draws a comparison to Tyson versus Holyfield, where a dominant favorite still faced serious challenges from a highly skilled and dangerous underdog, capable of testing even the
Tyson Holyfield. Does this have a little shade of that, where Mike Tyson would have always been a big favorite against Holyfield, right? In retrospect, he shouldn't have been, but at the time he would have been. Then he loses, goes to prison, Holyfield becomes champion. And going into their fight, which had been postponed for years, Mike hadn't looked as good since he was still champ. He had looked better than he had in years, beating the hell out of Frank Bruno. Better than he'd beaten Frank Bruno the first time, even though Bruno was coming off a good win. While Holyfield fought a blown-up middleweight, ultimately, in Bobby Chez, and looked horrible. So heading into that fight, people thought Tyson would win anyway, but now it was like, okay. Inoue looked better than Nakatani last time out. Nakatani really...
Kellerman leaned toward Naoya Inoue as the favorite. Boxing insider Mike Coppinger pushed back, arguing the matchup is closer than it seems, suggesting the fight is competitive and not as one-sided as initially.
Much closer to a 55-45 fight, maybe in favor of Inoue. And look, Inoue is he's a future Hall of Famer, first ballot. He's an all-time great, so he deserves that respect. And I was ringside on the call for those 2 fights in December in Riyadh. And like Malik said, that was a really tough style. Nakatani, Sebastian Hernandez, pressure style, Mexican, first fight at 122. So to me, I felt more encouraged going into this fight instead of less. And I just think maybe it's flying under the radar because it's going to be on very early morning in the US. This fight's in Japan. Just this morning, they announced, Max, this is a sold-out fight at the Tokyo Dome. They're going to have 55,000.
Am Rodriguez said he respects both Inoue and Nakatani, calling them elite champions, but slightly favors Inoue due to his speed, power, and experience. He added he's ready to face the winner anytime, believing the fight is inevitable if he keeps